Welcome to your practice. So this week our theme is nourishing. I listened to a meditation teacher that I'm really enjoying right now, and he did a meditation where he asked us to pause and go inward and consider what it would feel like if we were completely nourished. And it really struck me. It struck me that we often don't feel that way, and what a great way to pause and bring that idea into the tissues of the body. And then it got me thinking about twists and how nourishing twists are for many different reasons. They're great for our spine, they're great for our internal organs. They have this capacity to just, wring out the body, and when we release, there's this flooding in of new. And so that's just really, really nourishing for our body. So we're going to be focusing on twists today, and we're just going to do a lot of really yummy twists. There's one more little thing I want to begin with before we go into twists, and I want you to do this with me. So I'm going to use my right hand on the top and left hand the bottom, hands facing each other, and I want you to imagine you're holding a big ball jar. And maybe it's a ball jar full of honey, so it's a little bit heavy, and it's also a little bit sticky. And with your right hand on the lid, I want you to grab that lid, and you have to, you know how when things get sticky, you have to bear down a little bit. So there's just a little bit of bearing down, and then I want you to try to open that lid with isometric action, and just notice what happens to your right shoulder when you do that. We'll come back to center, and you just bear down and you press and you externally rotate both arms. You'll get this nice little external rotation in the shoulder joint. So we're going to have just a little bit of that focus today too, and I wanted you to feel this first. We're going to do it with the other side as well, but just note that you're going to be doing a reverse opening. So with the left hand on top and the right hand on the bottom, you bear down, feel that stickiness, and then you just gently turn that jar lid. And you'll notice that your elbow drops down and you get a little external rotation right at the top of the shoulder joint. So now release that for a moment and just wiggle out your wrists. And then bring your fingers to the tops of the shoulders. We're actually going to start with a pranayama before we go into our quieting, arriving breath. And I want the thumbs to drape over the back edge. And if you would, as best you can, I know it's a little awkward position, but if you could just bring your fingers up, like you're trying to grab the front of the shoulder and lift it up. And so that the shoulder blades drop down the back and towards each other. And you just keep trying to lift those shoulders up. Try not to let the neck get stiff, so you can kind of shake your head no. And you just bring those front of the shoulders up and back. And then drop the elbows down. Release the palms down by your sides, palm face out. And then inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. When you get there, stay, hold the breath, and try to squeeze the pelvic floor and lift it up like you're trying to get it up into the upper palate of your mouth. And then exhale, release the hands down. And we've got a few more of those. So we inhale, hold the breath, try to squeeze around the pelvic floor, and if you can, lift it up. And then exhale. And you want that uplift to almost feel like you're pulling an elevator up the body. So keep going. Inhale. Hold the breath. Squeeze around the pelvic floor and try to lift it up inside your being. And release. Let's go for two more. Inhale, sweep. Hold the breath. Squeeze. Lift it up. And exhale. Here's the last one. Inhaling. Squeeze and lift. And exhale. Release the hands down on your thighs and just take a moment to breathe deeply. All right, second pranayama. You bring your hands back to the shoulders as you did, and this time, and I'm not mirroring you for the sake of of my own body, my own nourishment. You're going to inhale to the left. So you're looking over your left shoulder. And you're going to exhale to the right, so you're looking over your right shoulder. And then we just take that again. And when you get there and looking over to the left, can you use your abdominals to twist you just a little bit more? And then inhale over to the right. And can you use your abdominals just to twist you a little bit more? Okay, now we're going to speed it up. So we inhale left, exhale right. Inhale, exhale, and start to just go until you've got a nice swinging breath. X, in, X. Take in as much breath as you need. Really recruit the breath. It's like a sniff. Through the nose, in and out. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Come back to center. Gently release your hands into your lap. Close your eyes. Big deep breath in, complete breath out. And just take a moment to imagine now, if you felt completely nourished, what would that feeling feel like? How would it feel to be completely nourished? How would it feel to be completely nourished? And let that feeling just drape into your tissues and bones. From here, we bring our hands up into prayer. Make an offering for your practice today. And bow. Release your hands and open your eyes. We're just going to take our legs out in a V, our fingertips behind us on the mat. And the first thing is just to warm up those hip sockets. So I want this wiggling in and out to come up all the way up into the legs. The knees are kind of soft, and you just let that happen. A couple more. And you breathe through it, taking big, deep breaths in and out. Okay, let the legs rest, fingertips on the floor behind you. Let the elbows soften. Drive down energy into the fingers and lift your heart. And just when you think you can't lift it anymore, go deep inside, start at the base of the spine, and crawl that energy up until you feel the heart and sternum lifting. And then exhale and gently release. Bring your legs into the opposite crossing. And we're going to take our right hand and place it on our left knee. So now we're in a twist again, and we're looking over our left shoulder. And if you have your hands on your knee and the floor, you can use the hands to slightly increase the twist. And when I say slight, I mean it. So just a little bit of an increase. And then lighten the load off your hands, maybe even take them off whatever they're touching, and use your abdominals to increase the twist. And then lay your hands back down, use your hands to increase the twist. And then lift off the hands and use your abdominals to increase the twist. And then lay your hands down again, pressing, increase the twist. Last one, use your abdominals as you lift the hands off to increase the twist. Good, and then release that, inhaling, come back to center. Let's try second side. So you're bringing your left hand to your right knee and your right hand behind you. And you use those fingertips as you inhale and lengthen through the spine. Use your fingers to gently increase the twist. And then release the hands and use your abdominals. And then drop your hands and use your hands. And then lift your hands and use your abdominals. So you're going deep inside to help move that twist. Use your abdominals and move the twist. Good. Inhale, come back to center, cleansing breath. You can roll the shoulders. Take your legs out in front of you. And again, just a little bit of a wiggle or shake. Big deep breath. It's also super nourishing, so we want to breathe often and strongly in our yoga practice. Fingertips on the floor, elbows are soft. Drive the energy down through the fingers and lift your chest. And you want to take your inner eye into the spine, starting at the base of the spine, like crawl the attention up and see if you can bring the spine even into more of an arch, driving down through the fingers, chest lifts, and then gently release. Beautiful. I hope you have a strap. If you do, please grab it. If you don't have a strap, you could use a bathrobe strap tie or a belt. I'm going to take my strap, I'm going to keep it in a loop, but you don't have to. You can either have it in a straight strap or a loop, so if it's already without a loop, keep it that way. And I just want it in a big loop. You're going to come onto your backs. If you need a little uplift for your neck, you can do that. Otherwise, on your back is fine. You're going to bend your left leg and put your foot on the floor. Your right leg is going to be lassoed by the strap. I got really tangled here for a second. I'm going to have to untangle. Okay, there we go. So left leg on the floor, knee bent, right leg on the strap. And I like to gently wrap my hands one loop around the strap so that I don't feel like I'm having to hold it so tightly. And then just breathe for a moment, because I imagine that you're getting a little hamstring stretch. And I want you to feel how the back body is encountering the floor. So I want you to start to feel left shoulder, left hip, right hip. All four corners of your torso, I want to be at about the same weight into the floor. I want them to be touching the floor fairly equally. And then also lift up your lumbar spine. So you're going to tilt your hip points towards your thighs. So that would mean a little bit of a cow tilt, so that you're just not shoving your low back into the floor. And then meet that with abdominals. So bring your abs in and up. It's almost like you're trying to pull the abdominals in and up underneath the rib cage. And take a couple breaths like that, just to mark that breath. Allow the stretch to happen gently. And don't forget, when you have that lumbar curve, that's a really good thing, but you always need to meet it with a little core frontal bracing action. Last breath. This isn't the biggest stretch of the day. It's just an intro stretch to the body. Let's take our hands and take the left hand and wrap it around both straps so that the hand is somewhat close to the foot. The right hand is going to go out in a T. So you got opposite hand to leg. And now you're just going to rock out onto the left side of your body. And so you get a little stretch through the outer right hip. The right hand is still in a T, but I'm going to have you take it and place that right hand on your hip. And you're just going to, like a nourishing practice, go from the hip down. You're just going to give it a little massage. And you're trying to push it down and away from you and just massaging through that outer hip. It can be with your knuckles or the heel of your hand. And you're just giving a little massage there. You could even roll that hand around in circles. Joints love circles. That's the Ayurvedic way. It always says circle around the joints. And maybe you feel a nice little stretch here, or maybe one that's a little bit complicated and intense. From here, you're going to grab the strap with your right hand, pull your abdominals in and up, and swing that leg all the way back up, bringing the left knee with it. Okay, so now we're back to that same shape we began with. Notice if your stretch is a little easier, your hamstring stretch, just from that movement. Now you're going to take the right leg out to the side and the left knee. So if you were to curl up and look straight down through your tail, your legs would be at the same angle. You've got the perfect V there. Once you feel it and see it, then you pull your abdominals in and up and you lay back. And you get an inner thigh stretch. And it's going to be tempting to let the straight leg go lower. And I'm going to ask you to be really disciplined there and keep your legs at the same angle, because that allows you to keep your core engaged better. Once you let that right leg, the long heavy leg, go wide, the core starts to dip off to the right. We're going to keep it steady here. One more breath. And then as you exhale, you swing that leg back up and see if it's just a little easier in the hamstring. And now maybe you let it drape towards your face. One more breath there. And then you come back to bringing both hands on the strap super wide, and you curl up as if you wanted to bring your forehead to your knee. And you use your frontal body, your abdominals, to draw in and up, and then release. And take that knee, that same leg, bend the knee deeply so that it comes down by your outer right rib, and your foot is flat to the sky, and you just stretch it down. Half happy baby. Beautiful. And then you can release that foot out of the strap. Take a pause. Notice what it looks like internally. You should feel pretty different left to right, so just note that. The right side is nicely nourished with the breath and the stretch. So let's take that same thing on second side. So you lasso that left foot, both hands on the strap, and you just feel that first stretch. I like to let my hands drape down here, so my elbows are almost touching the floor. That way I'm not using so much effort. And then I bring my hip points forward towards the thighs, so I get a lumbar curve. And then to support that, I pull the belly in and up as best I can. And I just breathe into that beautiful hamstring, nourish it with the breath. The foot is awake and active into the strap, so that means that the toes are spreading. And we send consciousness into that whole left leg. So it knows where it is in space. It knows how it is in relationship to all its different parts. Last breath. Beautiful. And then I take the strap in my right hand. The left hand goes out in T, and then I roll all the way over onto my right side so that I have a nice twisting stretch. And breathe here. I'm guessing you're feeling that in your IT band or the outer hip, so take your left hand and give yourself a little nourishment. You can rub into the IT band, you can rub around the hip, you can rub down to try to pull that outer hip down. That's a really good one. You just give it some love, just give it some nourishment. And on a cold day that almost feels like winter, rubbing is really good for the body. It brings in deep warmth and dispels vata, which is the energy of cold. Okay, last breath there. You're going to switch hands on the strap. You're going to activate the belly and pull the leg all the way up. Beautiful. And just notice if you have a deeper stretch already. It's weird because we weren't necessarily stretching the hamstring, but it tells you how everything is kind of wrapping and connected. Now with the strap in your left hand, start to take the left foot and the right knee out in a V. And then go ahead and curl up and look and just notice that that V is fairly symmetrical. And you have a little bit of a lumbar curve and a little bit of core activation. And you're just going to breathe there and feel those inner thighs stretching. Big, deep, nourishing breath. And you'll just notice that you're keeping the back of the pelvis fairly level. It's going to want to tilt towards the straight leg. And you're going to counteract that with a little abdominal support and mindfulness. As you exhale, bring that leg up and notice if it feels a little more stretchy. Beautiful. You're going to bend that knee and bring it in towards so the knee drops down towards your left rib, half happy baby. Take another breath there. And we forgot to do our little abdominal lift, so just to finish it off equally on both sides, take that leg towards straight again. Take the hands, notice I included you on that we, not just me, I wasn't the only one who forgot, I'm sure of it.
both hands on the strap, and then curl up. Now I take full responsibility for my forgetfulness. And then release that. Release the strap from the leg. Place the foot on the floor. Drop the strap off to the side. And just take a moment to feel the nourishment in your body. Okay, we're going to bring the knees up into the chest and now add a little bracing to the equation, because when we start to brace and get our abdominals engaged, it really helps with the twist. So we're doing 1 minute and we're bringing the hands to the knees push back into the hands, the fingertips traction to the sky, and the abdominals pull down. And you want to keep going, and I tell myself those 4 words: push, push, traction, and pull, because my body likes to get lazy part way, and it just checks out. Even though it looks like I'm doing the pose, I'm not doing it anymore. So I got to keep saying, push with your hands, push back with your knees, traction the fingers to the sky, and pull the belly, ribs, and sternum down and in. You want to start to tremble for this minute. And I know we can do anything for 1 minute in our life, so really make it strong and active. Push, push, traction, pull. Push, push, traction, pull. Push, push, traction, pull. And beautiful, you did it. Bring the knees into the chest. If you need to, I need to shake mine out a little bit. They were feeling that. So shake them out for a second. And then bring them into the chest. Hug your knees with your hands, the elbows even, or forearms. Wrap them around and squeeze forehead to the knees. And see if while you're there, you can even go inside and pick up your tailbone and wrap it towards your heels. 1 more breath. Good. From here, we're going to rock a little bit, and when you start the rock, all you're doing is trying to get the tailbone off the floor so you get that lower, deepest ab. If it feels good to you, you can begin to increase the rocking. There might even be some of you who can tip your toes over your head, but maybe not. You're just introducing that shape to the spine, and you're even going to try to come up and stick boat pose. So that would look like, whoa, that. And if you can, great. If you can't, keep trying. It's fun to try. And then your right ankle goes over your left ankle. Your feet karate chop into the floor. And I'm just going to pull my sitting bones back and apart. Reach forward, not down. Reach forward like someone's pulling your wrists, and just lengthen through the spine. See if you can bring your abdominals in. Good. 1 more breath. And gently release. We're going to repeat that on the other side. So knees come up and we start to roll down. Using your abdominals, going as far or as little as feels comfortable to your body today. And eventually you're going to try to stick boat pose. So almost ready. Here I go. I'm going to try. Whoa. Did it. Sometimes it takes a couple times to get things warmed enough that you can do it. Now the left ankle comes over the right. I'm karate chopping my feet down, the outer edges. I'm pulling the sitting bones back and apart. Then reach with your hands at a diagonal. Pull the abdominals back. It's almost like you've got a bunch of different actions going. One's reaching, one's pulling back, one's karate chopping, and the hips are opening. 1 more breath. You should feel this in your abdominals. Good. And then come up. You're going to have some blocks handy. So put those back by your mat. And then I'm going to face you for a moment while we do a hip stretch with a little bit of a twist. So you're going to take your right hand and place it on your left knee for a moment. Now you're looking over your left knee. Inhale, get long in the spine, tall as you can. As you exhale, both hands reach almost like a downward facing dog and you're reaching straight over that knee till you feel that first resistance. Notice if the right hip is wanting to lift up. If it is, try to drop it back and down. Inhale here, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, see if you can get another inch out of it. Inhale here, lengthen through the spine. Drop that right hip. Exhale, abdominals. Now you can start to take almost like a cat tilt. So now you're trying to get your forehead or nose to the knee. So inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cat. You're going to look to your left shoulder and you're going to try to bring your left belly, I know you only have one, but try to bring the left one to the front. So you're going to try to bring the left side of your belly towards the right as you look. The right side of your belly towards the left as you look over your left arm. Beautiful. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cat. Beautiful. And then come out of that pose slowly. That's a deep ringing for the belly, so nourishing. So just take a moment to feel that. And then let's try that whole thing second side. See if I can keep my direction straight. So left arm on your right knee. Take a pause there and just lengthen up. Remember to use those fingers and abdominals. And then as you exhale, both hands start to reach forward in space. When you get to the place where you've had enough, it's enough, drop the left hip out. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cat. Trying to touch that forehead to the knee. Inhale, lengthen, drop the left hip. Exhale, cat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cat. Now look over at your right arm and bring the right side of your belly forward or over to the, bring the left side of your belly over to the right. And you're just trying to twist everything deeply inside. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cat. Beautiful. That'll get deep down into that belly. Come on out. Just bring the fingertips to the shoulders and take a couple rounded, big rounds of the elbows. Get into those shoulders. All right, we're gonna do another twist on our backs. So this is where the block comes in handy. So come down onto your back and bring that block in between your knees. And you're gonna bring your legs into that right angle as if you were bracing. And in fact, bracing is a really good idea right now if you can feel some of that bracing activity. And then as you inhale, you squeeze that block and you try to drop the block to your left knee, left elbow. Squeeze the block and try to drop it to your left elbow. Reach out through your right hand so you try to keep that right shoulder on the floor. Squeeze the block as if you're trying to get it to your left elbow. Look straight up at the sky and drop your right shoulder back. Think about that very first thing we did with fingertips on the shoulders and bring the shoulders up and over. Oh, good. And exhale. Bring it back. And take a cleansing breath. That'll wring out a lot of tension in the body. Should we try second side? So having the legs at a right angle, you're squeezing the block, inhaling. Start to drop the block towards the right elbow. The left arm reaches back and the left shoulder tries to drop. Squeeze the block, pull it to that right elbow. Drop the left shoulder and remember those fingertips on the shoulders that lift them up and over. Exhale, come back to center. Now we're going to do that again. I'm going to give you an option if you want to go to the next level. And don't worry if you don't, it's not a big deal. You just repeat what we did. This is a little bit harder and takes a lot more core strength. But if you want to try with legs straight, you can do that as well. So instead of dropping knees to the elbow, you're trying to drop toe tips to the fingertips. So here we go. Inhale, and you start to bring those toes over or those knees to the elbow or fingertips. Trying to keep the face straight up, reaching through the right arm, dropping the right shoulder. Use your abdominal bracing. One more breath. Exhale, strong belly to the spine. Bring them up. You can shake your legs down. You could even drop your heels into the hamstrings and give yourself a little percussive massage here. Another breath. Big nourishing breath. Here we go. Second side of your choosing. Squeezing the block. That brings a lot of attention to the midline. Start to take your knees to the right elbow or your toes to the right fingertips. Look straight up. Try to keep the left shoulder down. Abdominal bracing, super important. Squeeze and brace. One more breath. And exhale. Bring it all the way up. Release your block. And let's just take dead bug pose, which is just flopping those legs out and arms just. All right, beautiful. Drop your feet to the floor. Take a cleansing breath right into that belly. And then gently roll to the side. We'll begin this section in Vajrasana. And there's really one way to do Vajrasana is to sit on your heels, but sometimes I like to warm up my feet and prep for downward facing dog or other poses or Uttanasana, so I tuck my toes under. But that's yogi's choice. You do whatever you'd like. We're gonna work on our wrists today. So we're gonna take that begging pose that we've been doing, and we try to drop the fingertips onto the inner wrist as if we're taking our own pulse. And for the next few breaths, you squeeze that. Squeeze, 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 till you feel that awakening coming into the inner forearms, inner wrist. One more breath, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Good, and then take the hands to point to your knees as you weight bear slowly. Take some time to stretch that out. Not in a hurry here. This is a nourishing practice. We can even start to sit back and then start to rock forward and get that nice little stretch in the wrists. Now, I like to always remind everybody that when a muscle is active, it's a safer thing to stretch. So if you make those hands active on the floor, they'll be safer to stretch. Everything is protected. Okay, sit on back and then just shake your wrists out. They should be ready, a little bit more ready for weight bearing. This is a moving practice, this next one. So you come onto hands and knees, toes are tucked. And again, if you have to, if this is super uncomfortable because of different toe surgeries, you can untuck. But as you exhale, you drop your hips back as if for child's pose with toes tucked. And then the hands are reaching out straight, and you're turning the hands slightly out. You inhale up through cat tilt. The hands grab that honey jar that we talked about at the very beginning of practice, and they squeeze and turn the lid of the honey jar, and then you drop the hips down, you drop the elbows back, you take the heart forward, and you just get a little stretch there. When you've had enough, you press back up, you tuck the toes back under, and you sit on back to child's pose. So that was a long explanation. Now we're going to do it a little bit more with breath. So imagine that you just completed your exhale here. As we inhale, we roll up through cow. As we exhale, the elbows come straight back along the sides. The heart comes forward. It looks like cow. So press back up to tabletop. Move back through cat tilt into child's pose. Inhale, roll up through cat tilt. Grab the mat and come through cow tilt, bringing the elbows back, heart forward, and then back up. And exhale to child's pose. So we just keep going like that. It's like a spinal massage. You're inhaling, rolling. You're grabbing the floor, bringing the elbows back, stretching the heart through, and then pressing back up. And exhaling back. Keep going. Find your own rhythm and find your own level. So maybe coming forward or back is difficult, so you just go as much as you can. You're massaging the low spine. And you're nourishing the movement with the breath, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Keep going, find your own way. We're going to finish up now in child's pose, untucking our toes, resting our forehead on the floor, and just feeling into how would it feel to be completely nourished. All right. Bring your knees together for a more true Vajrasana. From here, we're gonna rise up into our lunges. So we inhale and come up onto our knees or our shins. And then as if someone was lifting through our wrists, we lift up and we swing the right leg through. The hands are gonna rest down on the front knee, press down and forward. It's like bracing, right? And then either the back toes tucked or under, either way, and you're just pressing down and forward. And just feeling that stretch through the back knee. You can stay there. If you want to add a fly of the arms, you can drape them down and fly them up overhead. Beautiful. And then you release your hands, rock a little bit back, and see if you can step back and sit back into Vajrasana. And take a cleansing breath. Here we go, second side. Inhaling, flying up, as if someone were pulling up your wrist, lengthening, and exhaling as you step forward. Hands come down to the front knee, they push down and forward. The bracing of the abdominals comes into play. And again, remember, back toes can be tucked under or not. Either way, yogi's choice. You're just trying to bring muscle energy up the legs so that they're part of the practice. If you want to move on, the arms dangle down and they fly up. Beautiful. As if someone's lifting up your wrist, you rock it back and sit on back into Vajrasana. Take a cleansing breath. We're going to add a twist on that same pose. So here we go. Inhale, coming up as if someone's lifting your wrists. Swing your right leg through. Beautiful. Bring your hands down into prayer in front of the heart, and you're going to bring your left elbow onto your right knee. Now again, the back toes can be tucked under for more stability if you'd like, but I want you to feel this like we began in our pose. So you can use your arms to start to twist and look over at the prayer hands, and then release the arms just a little bit and use your abdominals to increase the twist. And then use your hands to increase the twist a little bit more. Then release your hands and use your abdominals. We've got one more. Hands press and you twist. Hands release and you twist. Beautiful. Come on back. Arms can go up overhead as you rock back. Step back. Sit back. Vajrasana. Take a cleansing breath. Second side. Here we go. Inhaling, flying. Exhaling, stepping. Inhaling, lengthening. Arms come down into prayer. Twisting right elbow to left knee. Left toes can tuck under for greater stability. You press the hands together and you twist the belly.
Then you release out of the hands and you use your core to do a little more twist. Press and twist, release and twist. Press and twist, release and twist. One more, press and twist, release and twist. Beautiful, come on back, sweep the arms up, and come on back down, Vajrasana. And we're gonna do that one again, but this time with a little variation option. So you can do just what we're doing, or I'll show you the variation. So I'm actually gonna start on second side. So we'll start with the left leg going forward. So here we go. Inhale, sweeping up as if someone's lifting your wrists up. Step your left leg forward. Bring your hands into prayer. Turn and twist, right elbow to left knee. Tuck the back toes under for greater stability. And this time you can repeat, so you can press and twist, and then release and twist, and then you take your arms out in a big V, or a big, what would you call that, a big T. And you try to press and twist, and then release and twist. Press and twist, and release and twist. And maybe even get your face up to the sun a little bit, get a little sunlight on there. Whoo, come on back. And inhale your arms up, lift up, and sit on back. That's a nice challenging twist for the day. Let's take a cleansing breath. We've got one more to go. Here we go, sweeping the arms up, getting nice and tall, taking the right leg forward. Hands in prayer, either the first variation where the elbow goes to the knee and the back toe tucks under. Press and twist, release and twist. Take your arms out into your big T if you'd like that variation. And again, you press and twist, and then you try to use your abdominals to twist. Keep going. Last one. Beautiful. And release. Good job. You did it. Move on back. We'll take our legs, we'll walk over to the right side of our mat, and then we drop our left hip onto the mat. So this left leg is now perfectly parallel to the long edge of the mat. And then the hands come down and they stand parallel to the long edge of the mat. And you just take a breath there. And can you stick your booty out a little bit so you get a little lumbar curve? And then can you lift the belly in and up underneath that, or to support it? If that feels good, you can also try coming onto forearms. Yogi's choice, you do whatever you want. And I know some people are super twisty, and they can even take their arms out or forearms forward. Just make sure that you're supporting the belly onto the back. One more breath. And then wherever you are, just rock yourself up, and you're going to swing through Vajrasana to the other side so that you're sitting on your right hip, and it's that right thigh is perfectly parallel to the long edge of the mat, and then the hands are also as you rest on them. It's like if you could draw a line between each hand and each hip and each knee, and the other hand would be a perfect rectangle. So you just breathe here for a moment, feeling that first iteration of the twist. And then find that little bit of lumbar curve, so it's almost like you're spilling your hips forward, and then match that with strong belly action. Almost like you want to bring that belly in and under the ribs, and then come down onto forearms if that works for you. Keep those good alignment principles and the nourishing breath. And if that feels good, you can walk your forearms forward. Or if you're super juicy, you can take your arms out straight like a downward facing dog. And then walk your hands back. And guess what? We are going to finish off with a downward facing dog. So come to hands and knees, and you're going to remember our very first action with our wrists. Remember the jars? And so you press your hands down like you're grabbing the top of that honey jar, and you rotate them away from each other.
and then you press down, and you can do a squat dog here. You can have your knees bent, and you can even bounce a little bit here just to wake up the legs. Take some nourishing breaths, and then if you feel ready, drive down through those heels. Take the thighs towards the back of the body and stretch. Here's a lumbar curve. There's strong bracing abdominals. There's a softening in the upper shoulder blades behind the back, as if to release the heart forward. One more breath. Can you squeeze those lids off one more time isometrically? Bring that strong muscle action all the way up the arms. And then release knees to the floor and just bring yourself onto your back. We'll do a baby fish to make sure that we come down into a way that's super therapeutic for our bodies. So feet, knees are bent, feet on the floor. If you reach down, you can tickle your heels. Breathe that in. And then elbows by the sides, fingertips pointing to the sky. Press down with feet and booty and head, and start at the base of your spine, articulating everything up into an arch. Watch each bone lifting. Draw the belly in and up. Even get up into the upper reaches of the chest so you articulate those bones as well. Press down with the head to strengthen the neck. One more breath. Hugging around the spine with all those deep internal muscles. And then exhale. Release and let your legs fall out into Shavasana. Your hands turn out. Your shoulders externally rotate. Let it go. Let all the tension begin to release out of the body as if it could just be absorbed by earth. How would it feel to be completely nourished, body, mind, and spirit? How would it feel to be completely nourished? Namaste.
If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Namaste.